Some of them, yeah, you just.
Oh, you have it? Okay, yeah.
It would be amusing for us. Hearing.
Yeah, well, look at the ones I already got to do there.
Vote on
So,
continue.
like, I make sure I pronounce them right. I already asked how do you pronounce them, so that doesn't mean I'll get them right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Reynolds, how we doing? A dream every day. Pass.
come on. So sweet, you noticed, Joe.
The sweet nothings for your district here in that large.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Braintree Town Council meeting for Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. Could everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you please remain standing and join me in a moment of silence for our men and women in uniform? Thank you. Please be seated. Could we have roll call, please?
Counselor Barrica?
Here.
Counselor Flaherty?
Here.
Counselor Hume?
Here.
Counselor Maglio?
Here.
Counselor Moran?
Here.
Counselor Quilty?
Here.
Counselor Reynolds?
Here.
Counselor Ringus?
Here.
Counselor Ryan?
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Under announcements, do any counselors have any announcements? Counselor Maglio?
Thank you. This is just a friendly reminder that the East Braintree Community Action Coalition is meeting this Thursday at 6:30. We meet on the third Thursdays of the month at the Braintree Yacht Club on Gordon Road. So everyone is welcome.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Okay, hearing none. All right. This evening, as you can see in the audience, we're very lucky to have the Braintree High School varsity dance team here. And the champions are here. Welcome. Let's have a round of applause for them. So what I'd like to do is have the coaches come up and maybe talk a little bit about the team, and then maybe we'll come and have give out the certificates, and then we'll take some nice pictures. So we have Coach Jamie Campbell, Patty Hale, and Danielle Cohen.
Just me tonight.
Just you?
Lone soldier.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Why don't you tell us about the team?
Sure. So I am the very, very proud coach of the Braintree varsity dance team. I have been coaching for 25 years now, so it's been quite a bit of time. I have 25 of the most, excuse me, talented, hardworking, amazingly perfect and wonderful and all of the things. They work so hard. We have been at this season since August. So we just wrapped up this weekend at the New England Championship. They placed first place in both Palm and Jazz. They have placed first place 4 times in the fall, Endicott College Invitational. We also won the Massachusetts State Championship where were we, Framingham in the fall? And then we went on to nationals. So we traveled to Florida with the support of our wonderful high school. And for the first time in program history, we placed 9th in the nation in our jazz division. So Division I, large varsity, jazz is an incredibly talented. We've envied the teams that have been there every time we go down there, we feel like we're fans of these celebrities that are walking around. And to be in that conversation and to be on the same floor as them was a huge honor. I am a mom of 3 children, but I always say that was one of the best moments of my life, and they gave it to me. So I always say they're like my 25 children. So then after that, we came home and jumped right into our Bay State League competition, won first place again in Palm and Jazz. After that, went to state championship again, came in first place in Palm and Jazz. And then we traveled to Trumbull, Connecticut this past weekend and came out on top again. So we had a pretty good track record this year.
Wow.
Yeah. I will add, they dance 6 days a week for a minimum of 3 hours. And like I said, we start in August and we go all the way through. So they truly dedicate every ounce of their time to being the best that they can. And our motto this year has been, I'll show up for you and you show up for me. And in turn, they show up and, they're an incredible team. And they are smart, they're great students, and they work really hard. And we have the best group of parents as well who are so supportive. So it's been a great year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would any of the councilors, Councilor Hume?
Mr. President, I love when the dance team comes here. There's been so many state championships with the dance team, and one of the most underrated teams, in my opinion. I've said it every year, and I don't think many people know it's a 2-season sport, which 1 season's hard enough, especially at the high school level and all that. So congratulations. I've been following you on social media, saw you made it to ESPN, and I'm like, they're going to win again because the talent is amazing. I know you all work hard because you wouldn't get to where you are without hard work. So it's amazing. So keep up the hard work, keep up your studies. Thank you to all the parents, because without your parents, you wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be able to go on all these big trips. But thank you for representing Braintree. Congratulations, so talented. Great job to all the coaches. This is, I think, unprecedented, the number of times a dance team. Yeah. As you said, you've been coaching for 25 years. I don't think there's any other team in Braintree that has received as many state championships, national championships, top 9, which is amazing, than any other team. So that's incredible and impressive. So congratulations, best of luck in the future, and keep making Braintree proud. We hope to see you again next year.
Any other councilors? Councilor Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. President. I got to say, I'm personally extremely impressed with your team and the individual effort and the focus that it takes to achieve the heights that you folks have achieved. And when you think about what the previous speaker just talked about, your underrated performance amongst all the teams, there are just so many superlatives to talk about from the residents from this town, students from this town, organizations from this town, and you stand right up there with them. You're quite impressive. Thank you for your effort, and thank you for representing Braintree so well.
Thank you. Councilor Ringus?
Thank you, President Ryan. Congratulations, girls. Phenomenal job again, and it's again and again and again. 15 to 18 hours of sort of training. I mean, it's dance, but it's training. A week is, in addition to your studies and everything, the other clubs you have going on. It's a huge time commitment. And again, like Councilor Hume said, it's not just a sport like soccer or basketball. You play that one season. It's the double season. So you're really talking 6 to 7 months of constant training in addition to any of the dance classes you're doing on the side. So it's a huge commitment. Congratulations. This is as close to perfection as you can get. To the parents, thank you, because they don't get to those practices, they don't get to this point without the parents and the time commitment from you folks. So thank you for contributing to their success. And Coach, even in the way you sort of talked about the kids, it's clear the passion that you have for them and for this, and we thank you for what you're doing as well. So congratulations.
Any other councilors? Council? Flaherty?
Thank you. So I always maintain that there's no such thing as bad dancing. Just watch the
Elaine.
floor at any wedding or bar mitzvah, and you will see all kinds of moves. And no matter how polished or unpolished they look, whatever they're doing that with joy, and that is always really easy to detect. And that's a beautiful thing to see. But good dancing is special because as an art, it can demonstrate all kinds of human emotion. And good dancing, that's one thing I know about dancing. But the other thing about dancing that I know is that good dancing is much harder than it looks. It takes amazing strength. It requires flexibility. There's a level of precision that has to be achieved that is really hard to do. And poise is, you have to demonstrate poise. And while you're doing it, you have to make it look easy. So the only way to get there is to practice with a level of intensity and focus that not everybody can achieve. But you guys did. So that's something to be really proud of. I hope that all of you will dance for the rest of your life. But whatever you do, you've clearly demonstrated that you have what it takes to put in the work to be successful in any endeavor that you take on. So congratulations to you on this monumental achievement, and thank you for being such a wonderful inspiration to the rest of us in Braintree.
Any other councilors? I just want to say congratulations. You know, this is one of the best parts of our job, is to be able to have the young adults of Braintree come in here and acknowledge their hard work and their dedication, and you've made Braintree very proud, so thank you so much. Okay. What we're going to try to do is have citations. Let me read one of the citations. This is from the mayor and the Braintree Town Council. Extend their congratulations in recognition of placing 9th in the Division I Large Varsity Jazz Division at the National Dance Championship, as well as placing 1st at the Endicott College Invitational, the MSAA Dance State Championship, Bay State League Championship, and the New England Dance Regional Championship. We almost ran out of room on the paper there. So we're going to come up, have you come up, get your certificate, and then we'll all take a picture over in front of the stage, and then we'll give everybody a couple minutes to leave us be, and we'll get on with our meeting, okay? So why don't we go, everybody come up here. First up, we have Kate Clancy. Congratulations, Kate. Thank you. Right, Kate, you got to. Everybody wants to shake your hand. Next, we have Kaylin Fan. Congratulations. You're doing good. Next, we have Danielle Cohen. Okay. She's the coach. They're in alphabetical order, sorry. Sarah Supley. Congratulations, Sarah. Thank you. Erin Savage. Congratulations, Erin. Thank you. Sophia Chin. Congratulations, Sophia. Thank you so much. McKenna Pitts. Congratulations, McKenna. Leah Pendergast. Congratulations, Leah. Thank you. Molly Fleming. Molly, congratulations. Thank you. Chloe Carter. Chloe, congratulations, Chloe. Thank you. Emma McDonald. Emma, congratulations. Thank you. Emerson Madden. Congratulations, Emerson. Carolyn Prezzuti. Hi, Carolyn. Congratulations. Sophia Borges. Sophia, congratulations. Oh, don't skip me. There you go. Lauren Collier. Lauren, congratulations. Thank you. Sophia Garino. Sophia, congratulations. Sophia Hanlon. Good job, Sophia. Thank you. Brogan Sisti. Aspen Fogg. Aspen, congratulations. Rosin Killeen. Oh, here we go, on the roll. Ashley Pepdonovich. Johnvich. I screwed that one up, too. Ashley, sorry about the last name, I messed it up. Grace Duffy. Ashley Damasio. Hi, Ashley. Congratulations. Molly Titley. Molly, congratulations. Thank you. Riley Gazzolo. Riley. Congratulations, Riley. Thank you. What? Ella Diedzik. Hey, Ella, how are you? Congratulations. Thank you. You said it right. Thank you. I'm batting about .330. And Patty Hale, the coach. Where is she? Not here? Okay. All right. So why don't we all go over? Oh, we got one more? Coach Jamie Campbell. Coach, awesome job all the time, all the time. So why don't we take some pictures in front of the stage, and all the parents can take pictures with their cameras, and then we'll take a little recess and get on with that business, all right? Thank you. Girls didn't look at like that when I was a kid.
hear the cheer? It was for you, Bill. Give me a B.
They didn't win. They got to the Super Bowl, didn't win, but it was 99. Yeah, Lee Carlson, Brad. Oh, really? Okay. He could run. He's on track too. His 400 time was something. That's a tough rate. Yeah.
What are you saying with the...
Funny story though.
Who? Okay. I gotta know when to start. Okay, we are back in session here for the council meeting. We have, I'd like to go out of order on the agenda if there's no objections from the council for the same night action on, what number is it? 25011, Mayor, authorization to accept the donation, Festival of Trees, or take up any action related thereto. Mayor Joyce?
Good evening, Council. I'm very excited to be here, breaking the ice before I invite my dear friend, Elizabeth Inglis, up, who's with her husband, Rich. This is, I think, hopefully a lot of you were able to attend Festival of Trees. This was a brainstorming idea well before I was mayor. You know, Elizabeth Biz, as everyone calls her, and I were brainstorming about how great it would be to just sort of amplify the Christmas lighting ceremony. And you know, she joked that if I ever became mayor, that would be the first thing she'd want to tackle. And she just tackled it, made it amazing. And I want to bring her up here so that we can congratulate her. But one of the first things we were strategizing on, especially as we were looking at, you know, just sort of the financial situation last year, is we really wanted to do something that would help offset the cost of anything like that. So I think tonight, the fact that they can bring a donation forward to help fund the Christmas tree lighting event, hopefully this grows in popularity and success. And, you know, I want her to come up and, you know, take all the credit that's deserved tonight. But I'm just really happy that this came to fruition. So Biz, come on up.
Thank you, thank you. Never did I think that, A, this would happen, or that it would be as successful as it was. I started talking about this to a group of friends, and they all looked at me like I was out of my mind. But I tied them down, and they were on board. And as things picked up with local businesses, and we firmed down dates, and trees were coming in, I looked at them all and I said, "You're in this, right?" And they were. And without them and the town of Braintree and their residents, I couldn't have done this without them. So I thank them very much. We had some awesome sponsors, Clean Harbors, the Norfolk Sheriff Department, Braintree Rug, Beld was great. Some wonderful sponsors, and I'm hoping to get more sponsors this year. A lot of things came in late last year because it was the first year. No one really understood what it was. It didn't really take off until September after Meredith posted something in one of her monthly flyers. And this year, we're well on our way. I have a meeting with the fire department at the end of the week. I'm on Beld's calendar for April. I'm Clean Harbors. Have had multiple conversations with already. They're a three-year commitment, so they're on it for 3 years, and I'm hoping for many more. So yeah, we had a huge success. I don't have an exact number, but I'm thinking that there were about 1,400 people that came through the door. We had easily 600 the first night. The first night was very busy. And even at least 500 on Friday and 500 on Saturday. So we had a huge turnout. We had 47 trees, and we think that we can do about 90 this year. So that's our goal. That's our goal. We're coming by in 2 Fridays to measure out the room. but we did find a way that we can fit twice as many, so that's what we're shooting for. So hopefully, as the years go on, it's bigger and better, and if everyone can, advertise and put in a good word, we'd appreciate it. And we're looking forward to helping the town of Braintree. So I hope that you'll accept our donation, and we can continue this path for many years to come.
Awesome.
Do you have any questions for me? Do you guys have any questions?
Meredith.
Thank you, President Ryan. I just wanted to offer congratulations and gratitude for the donation. For people who are watching at home, it's for $9,769, so that is no small feat. So thank you. And just absolutely unbelievable amount of organization, and that you pulled that off in the short amount of time you did, I think is a real testament to your leadership, Biz, and your vision for this. So thank you for that as well. And I cannot wait to see 90 trees in here. Holy cow. But great job. It was tons of fun, and we'll look forward to saving the date in 2025.
Yes, December 4th to the 8th.
Okay. Put it on the
Awesome.
calendars, everybody.
Any other councilors?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Council Maglio.
Okay, so do we have a motion on this? Oh, I'm sorry, Council Maglio.
I want to congratulate you on having such a great idea that is built around joy and celebration, and then sticking to it and actually making it happen. There's so many great ideas out there that people may have, but then when it comes down to actually doing the work, a lot less ideas actually come through to fruition. And so the amount of stress and overtime and double time and all the kinds of coordinations that you and all the families that were involved had to go through for that is a testament to the fact that it was a great idea, it was led with someone who had a vision, and you delivered. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to take a motion now on this. Dave, you want to read the motion, sir?
Thank you. I would, President Ryan, I would move that the town of Braintree be and hereby authorized in accordance with Section 53A of Chapter 44 of the Mass General Laws to accept the following gift upon the conditions attached and herein set forth, the donor being the Festival of Trees, that gift being the sum of $9,769. So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're going to go back to the agenda. And, okay. All right, so under announcements, I just wanted to mention that you can see on our, where we're sitting, we have some art from the students in the Braintree school system, and we have art from students at the South Middle School, the Highlands, Flaherty, Liberty, Hollis, Ross, Morrison, and East Middle School. So we're going to proudly display this artwork for the next few months here. So thank you to the students. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. We do not have any minutes to approve. The next item would be communications. I put a placeholder on the agenda under 00525, an update on the school committee. I don't know if the mayor could maybe talk for a few seconds about that, or a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening again. Just an update on the school committee work that we had been discussing or giving an update to the council about with regards to redistricting, which was also considering options in which elementary schools may be closed and consolidated. That work did draw a lot of residents, parents, educators out. We had a public meeting a couple weeks ago in this room where we had many people speak just about the concerns of potential consolidation, redistricting. A lot of options were sort of floated. A couple had sort of risen risen to the top of committee members' considerations. Last night at our school committee meeting, we did have on the agenda that we were scheduled to vote on a redistricting decision. The committee did decide to delay that. I guess we voted to keep business as is for the next year. I had offered that. I think in the consideration of whether or not we would consolidate was largely driven by a school budget gap that may result in the reduction in programming in some of the schools. We had been looking at the town budget while we're still very much in the early stages of that as we gear up for budget season, trying to close that gap to buy a little bit more time. I think last time I spoke about whether or not we'd want to have time to have more of a discussion in the community. So last night, we did move to expand the discussion to include a master plan in which we would engage with the school building committee and the community to talk through that further. I think long-term funding of our schools, as we talked about at school committee, and as I shared townside resources, when we had advocated for an override and a 5-year plan, the 5-year plan did set parameters on the school's budget, growing a little bit beyond our townside resources. We anticipate 2 to 3% of the town revenues growth, and the schools are growing at 3.5%, while the rest of government we had held to around 2%. That's still going to be really hard for our schools. So in the years ahead, I think we're going to, continue to have really challenging discussions. I appreciate that this is a very stressful conversation to have. Being transparent, I guess, and being, talking through those conversations as a community can be very exhausting, and I appreciate that we're all very exhausted. Everybody wants to take a deep breath, and for this budget issue to be over, no one wants that more than me. I can promise you that. But we're working really hard to do this thoughtfully and sustainably. So in the year ahead, much more to come on that conversation, and hopefully a master plan that provides a little bit more clarity of where I think we need to go. So that is my update.
Thank you, Mayor Joyce. Okay. Next on the agenda under communications is 00824, Council President, Ryan Egan, Economic Development Manager. We're here to meet Mr. Egan, and Mayor Joyce, thank you again.
Thank you again. I would just like to introduce our new Economic Development Manager, Ryan Egan. Traditionally, our department heads do come through the council for appointment, but Ryan's position wasn't required to do that, but we do want to offer a glimpse into what he'll be working on and give you a chance to meet Ryan and have him tell you a little bit about himself and where he's hoping to go on the economic development side for us. So Ryan, thanks.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Joyce, and good evening, President Ryan and councilors. Sorry, I don't have any cheers or dancing for you tonight, but maybe next time. As mentioned, my name is Ryan Egan, and I'm the new Economic Development Manager within the Mayor's Office. I just want to say thank you for letting me come down here and introduce myself tonight, as well as share what I've been working on in the 3 weeks that I've been here, and a little bit about Mayor Joyce's vision for economic development. A little bit about me: I've just begun my 8th year as an at-large town councilor in the town of Randolph, and I'm very familiar with the seat you're sitting in. It's kind of nice being on the other side of it tonight, and I know it can be just as rewarding as it can be challenging, so I appreciate your work. In addition to that, I've worked full-time under 3 mayors, both in Framingham and Marlborough, most recently serving as the Chief of Staff in Marlborough. Municipal government, I've been working in municipal government in some fashion since high school. It's more of a passion for me than it is a job, so I very much look forward to bringing that energy here to Braintree. I'm very familiar with Braintree, being from right next door. Growing up, I attended base. My pediatrician and dentist office was here. Often I cheated on the Randolph Cinema and came over to AMC. Grew up at the South Shore Plaza, worked at the Casual Cup several years ago, part-time actually, often attend Mass at the Archdiocese headquarters, and my wallet can certainly confirm that I do a lot of my shopping here. So as you may know, as I mentioned, I just started 3 weeks ago on February 24th, and since then I've been able to attend the Planning, Conservation, CPC meetings. I'll be attending the ZBA meeting on the 24th, and I'll be attending those monthly. Lots of meetings, other internal meetings as well with planning and community development. I have Connor on speed dial, and he's very sick of seeing my name on his phone, I'm sure, by now. Building, licensing, health. I had a great tour with Russ last Friday, so I'm not sure if there's anything I don't know about the town of Braintree after that. Met with the assessor, procurement, BELD, and a lot of other internal stakeholders, learning a lot about what's going on internally and bringing things together. Externally, met with the Braintree Chamber of Commerce, both the president and the board, this past week, and did a site visit at Reworld or Covanta, meeting with the mall soon and getting together a working group for the hotels in the coming weeks. This week I'll be meeting with CHAPA as well as the South Shore Chamber of Commerce and hopefully the Chinese American Association of Braintree. That's just a glimpse. There's a lot more to do in the coming weeks in terms of meetings. We do have several projects that we've started since I came on. We're starting to put together an available properties map for commercial properties throughout the town within our GIS system. The mayor will be soon announcing a business feedback survey and listening tour in April that we'll be working on. We're going to be getting the Wood Road Working Group started based off of the plans that were recently done by MAPC. Hopefully getting an economic development committee together in the next few months. We're currently working on the website redesign, which will include an economic development web page that'll have a lot of resources for businesses and those who need them. Permitting guide and much more that we'll be working on over the next few months. We'll also be working on the Community One-Stop Grant as well as Cultural Council grants the next month or two as those deadlines come up. And as for the long to medium-term vision for the mayor's economic development priorities, I would say they fall within about 6 global objectives. First being recruiting a diverse array of businesses and expanding Braintree's commercial tax base, which is very much needed. Retaining and supporting our existing businesses and assist and encourage their expansion. Creating and maintaining a business-friendly and centric infrastructure within Town Hall and building Braintree's reputation as a great place to do business. Marketing Braintree to potential residents, businesses, developers, investors, and stakeholders, and showcase the really incredible amount of things that Braintree has to offer. I think we should, position Braintree as a regional leader both on the South Shore and within Greater Boston. And lastly, identifying and securing funding sources outside of the town's operating budget, including grants, mitigation, pilot programs that help further our economic development goals. Certainly, economic development is not done in a vacuum. It's quite the opposite. My work will rely a lot on the cooperation of dozens of internal and external stakeholders. And it certainly goes without saying that Mayor Joyce and I consider the Town Council an integral internal stakeholder in that vision, and we very much look forward to working with you to help continue to make Braintree a better place to live, work, play, and stay. Thank you again for the invitation, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer to the best of my ability. Otherwise, my door is always open and phone is always on.
5 questions, but you answered them all. So I don't have any questions. Anyone? Council Maglio?
Thank you very much. That was amazing. You've clearly hit the ground running. You're checking off all of the critical kinds of issues and initiatives that are important and are going to bring value and are worth the investment and time it's going to take you to create those working groups and those relationships. And I just love everything I just heard. And I want to say that I want to invite you to District 3, East Braintree. Quincy Ave needs to be the new foodie destination. And so that's going to be part of the work that I hope that we can do together. So you'll need to come to an East Braintree Community Action Coalition meeting.
We'll put it on my list.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sure.
Good luck and thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Council Baraka?
Yeah, thank you so much for coming this evening, and it's always nice to have a fellow councilor working upstairs. And I do want to say to Mayor Joyce, I know one of the promises you made when you were running, and I think in your inaugural address, was to get an economic development director hired. It sounds like you found just the right person, so I really appreciate you following through on that, and I'm looking forward to working with you. I will always go to the foodie destinations on Quincy Ave, but I also hope we can, South Braintree Square, which I know you're familiar with, another great part of town, and we'll be looking forward to sharing that with you as well.
Absolutely.
So, thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your presentation tonight, and welcome to the town of Braintree.
Thank you.
I, for one, certainly could say that I look forward to working on these topics with you. They're very near and dear to my heart. Braintree has a tremendous amount of opportunity, and I don't know if you've familiarized yourself with perhaps some of the struggles that we've had in the past. I think they would be very helpful in informing the path forward. I'm interested in hearing a little bit about what you may think as the most doable, I guess, accomplishments, particularly, and I'd like to ask you about, you know, from the commercial business standpoint. What do you see as some of the opportunities that we have that are realistic?
Sure. So I think at this point, and I mentioned this to Mayor Joyce, we're starting from sort of the foundation, which I don't think is a bad thing. Internally, as I mentioned, I met with the building department, planning, I met with Connor and a few other, you know, in the finance departments, and there's a lot of great department heads, a lot of great employees. It's been nothing but welcoming and assisting throughout this process. Onboarding, and I think we have great resources. There's been a lot of great studies that have been done, but I think, you know, it's tough bringing it all together as the building commissioner or as the planner. You know, it's bringing all the stakeholders together to create a permitting guide, to sort of create our infrastructure, to create a website that, you know, it's easy to find the bylaws on. It's easy to see where you go to get a special permit or find the table of principal uses, things of that nature. I think that's where we really begin. And you know, creating an available properties listing, I think, and trying to move into getting some data infrastructure from certain products, you know, commercial inventory products is helpful for this position and others within the town to really be able to help somebody who walks in and wants to develop a site, similar to like 125 Union, that's been on, you know, the books to get redeveloped for a little bit, and we're happy to see that moving along. But I think it's really creating the infrastructure. I think that's where we start at this point, so we can build on that and go towards the bigger goals. But with all the projects that are in front of us, I don't think there's any shortage of I would say excitement by developers to come here and invest in Braintree, even considering the fact that these resources may not exist in a comprehensive fashion. But, you know, I've had nothing but great experiences working with the staff here so far, and the developers I've talked to echo that sentiment. So I think it's just about bringing that together and then moving on to those longer, bigger vision that I spoke to earlier.
Great, thank you. And I would have to agree that a foundational approach is really important. You're going to be that glue. Mm-hmm. You're going to be that, I guess, as Reggie Jackson, if you know who he was, said that he's the straw that stirs the drink. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And
Mr. October.
Mr. October, thank you, Mr. President, exactly. I know, but he was an Oakland A, too. But anyways, that being said, just one other thing I'd like to ask you about, and just from a consideration standpoint. I think there's a lot of strength in our being part of a region as well. You know, we as individual communities can go so far. But again, we need to find that mix, right? And that's why I asked the question about what are you looking at from a commercial and development standpoint or a business improvement standpoint that would help us with our revenues.
Sure.
And I'd be interested to hear more as you get more acclimated.
Sure.
If you come back again for a visit or maybe just even conversation at another time.
Sure.
So I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Council.
All right.
Any other councilors? Council Moran?
It's nice to meet you tonight, and thank you for your presentation. I think it's good that you're acclimating yourself with the various departments in the town hall, but I think a more important role is to get out of town hall, to not just post the vacant parcels and let other people know that they're out there. But to talk to the people that own those parcels, what they want to do with them, and get back to the mayor and let her know what they're up to so that she can like separate the wheat from the chaff as to what kind of development we want and what we can do with those owners to attract that development. We have to compete for the quality development that we want in this town. And we have to identify if we have internal barriers to that development, how we remove them or help people deal with them. And I think that's the real challenge and the real utility of this position is to be active rather than passive in going out and going after the businesses that we want, that the mayor has identified. You know, this parcel would be good for this, and this neighborhood wants something like this use, and to go out and go after those uses. It's challenging. But I hope it's an exciting opportunity for you that you take full advantage of.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more, Councillor. I think the survey is a good start, but I think that that data only goes so far. You need the anecdotal data as well. You need to be on the ground, and I think, to your point, Councillor Reynolds, I think that it's hard when you're the planner or you're the building commissioner trying to do the technical job that they have. I think if you have somebody who can get out of their office and go talk to those owners, go talk to prospective tenants, really understand what's going on the ground, what the barriers are, because, traffic studies and things of that nature that are technical do tell you things, but there are anecdotal things that may go on in neighborhoods or sites that you really need to talk to folks on the ground about. So I think that's very important.
Right. Well, I wish you well.
Thank you.
Any other councilors? I just want to say I've known Ryan for about 5 years, and when I met him, I was impressed. And I think I commend Mayor Joyce for having an economic development manager. I think it's very appropriate, and I think you've made a good selection here. And, one of the few things my colleagues have said, one of the things I think you need to help with is building a consensus, and trying to get everybody together where we can find common ground and move forward with the right kind of development in the town of Braintree, because we absolutely need it. And we need to do it in a way that everybody can live with the results. So welcome, Ryan.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is Old Business 25003, Mayor Zoning Ordinance Text Amendments, Accessory Dwelling Unit Zoning Ordinance, and associated text amendments to comply with the Mass Affordable Homes Act or take up any action related thereto. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the public hearing is now open. I'm going to refer to Councilor Ringus, Chairman of the Committee on Ordinance and Rules, for a recommendation for Order 25003.
Thank you, President Ryan. The Committee on Ordinance Rules met earlier this evening. Planning was present. There was various questions asked. Ultimately, we voted unanimously for a favorable recommendation to the full council as to Order 25003.
Thank you. And tonight we have Acting Planning Director Connor Murphy here. Mr. Murphy, good evening.
Thank you, Council President. Just want to start off, I'd like to give a brief background on the application that was filed with you. It was filed with the Town Council on January 31st, 2025, to amend the zoning ordinances as it relates to the accessory dwelling units pursuant to Chapter 150, Section 7 and 8 of the Acts of 2024 Affordable Homes Act. The application was transmitted to the Planning Board on February 3rd and was advertised for the March 11th, 2025 Planning Board meeting. On March 11th, I presented amendments to the Planning Board. They provided background to how the town arrived at the submittal under 25-003 and provided further amendments they were seeking to be included as part of the Planning Board recommendation. The acting myself presented amendments relating to required setbacks with height and story limitations for accessory structures. I further provided feedback that the town has arrived at these dimensional amendments based on input from our building inspector, members of our administration, and public feedback we've received. In short, some of these amendments under the planning board recommendation is to amend our required setbacks for accessory structures in zones Residence A, Residence B, Residence C, Cluster 1, Cluster 2, Cluster 3, and general business. These setbacks will now be changed from 5 feet to 8 feet. We are also proposing a maximum building height of about 18 feet and limiting at 1.5 stories. We do have a provision proposed that the maximum building height may be extended by holding a 1-to-1 rear yard setback to building height ratio. The maximum building height allowed for any accessory structure shall not exceed 28 feet and 2.5 stories. As part of that recommendation, we had asked that proposed text note number 12 under Town Council Order 25-003 be removed, as it will conflict with the amendment.
Okay. Thank you. Any comments, questions from the council? Council Baraka?
Thank you very much, President Ryan. Earlier this evening, I was able to sit and join the Ordinance and Rules Committee meeting, so thank you, Councilor Ringus. I wanted to make a main motion for 25003 as stated, to make an amendment to that motion. Should I read that whole amendment out?
You can discuss the amendment that you'd like to make, but we're going to...
Wait a second.
When we come out of the public hearing, that's when we're going to vote. We're still in the public
Right.
hearing.
Okay. Correct. So, thank you. My amendment to the main motion is essentially a carve-out for small lots, less than 8,000 square feet. There are about 33% of lots in Braintree that fall into this category. That's a 0.1 acre lot, so a little bit less than 1/5 of an acre. And my amendment states, and I believe you all have a copy, for lots of 8,000 square feet or less, that the side and rear setbacks be 5 feet rather than 8 feet in Residence A, B, C, and Cluster 1, 2, 3.
So when we make the motion, you're going to amend the motion before we vote on it, when we come out of the public hearing?
A second.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Would anybody like to comment on that while we're under discussion? We're not voting right now. We're just talking about it.
Okay.
Yep, we're just talking about it right now. So I'm wondering if anybody wants to respond to that, or... Council Maglio, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. I would absolutely like to discuss this further. I think it's an important consideration given the intent of these amendments, the ones coming from the state, are so that it can address an affordable housing issue, so that there can be accessible units, and so that people can participate in these opportunities to increase their investment in their homes. And so I would definitely like to open this up for discussion.
So, Council Baraka, would you like to address that?
Yeah, thank you very much, President Ryan, and thank you, Councilor Maglio. As I was reading this bylaw or ordinance for Braintree and looking through the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, and also very good timing following the Economic Development Director, thinking about and making sure that our residents who may live on a small lot have the same opportunities to build that generational wealth that residents on larger lots will have, for whom it will be a lot easier to meet the 8-foot setback. And, I know that, as Councilor Maglio alluded to, allowing for to make it easier for people to construct accessory dwelling units, it's a way to increase property values, generate wealth through potential rental income, add affordable housing opportunities for our community, and mitigate expenses by broadening the opportunities for intergenerational living, and making sure that all of our residents have access to these economic drivers. I feel that this is a small change that could make a very, very big difference for many of our residents. And I also feel that there's, height restrictions and other safeguards in place, and I hope that, and I appreciate everybody's consideration of this amendment.
You want to follow up on that? Council Maglio, are you all set?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion, questions for Council Hume?
I haven't seen this before sitting at the table tonight, so I, for one, appreciate the spirit of it. Not prepared to vote on the amendment tonight. Question, if I may?
Yes, of course.
Have you or the mayor's office seen this?
I saw it this morning when I arrived at work.
Okay. And where planning board's coming to us with the recommendation, I'd like this sent to planning board for their review, if that's even possible to do that.
Okay, would you like to talk on that?
If I may, through the president to Councilor Hume, when I received this morning, my first thought was, let's get this to legal so they can review it as well. So in that case, I don't disagree with the notion on trying to accommodate for smaller lots. I believe there are other amendments we can make to satisfy that need. And sort of looking around today at what other communities have done, you can use the existing lot width and create a measurement and create a required setback based on that. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but am looking to make it easier for those on smaller lots. So on that note, we would be open to a continuance and reviewing what has been submitted this morning, in addition to reviewing it with legal.
Thank you. Councilor Baraka.
Yeah, and Councilor Hume, thank you. I agree. I would have also wanted to provide more time for all of us to review this. And I know things just timing-wise got a little jammed up with the planning board, the recommendation, and so on and so forth. But again, thank you for being open and offering your comments. I appreciate that.
Any further comments, Councilor Flaherty?
Thank you. What I would like to add is that sometimes having the same rule for everybody is exactly equitable. And I think in this case, because not everybody has the same size lot, a different rule for different people or for different size lots, makes some sense to me to add equity to the opportunity that people deserve to have an ADU on their home. If this is the right mechanism for doing that, then I would support that. If there's a better mechanism that can be suggested through planning, I would be happy to support that. But I think it is a wise move to give consideration to the differences in the property sizes that we have across Braintree, and to ensure that what we pass aligns with the spirit of the law that was passed at the state level. Thank you.
Councilor Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. And, I want to commend Councilor Baraka for her effort to, make generational wealth more possible, and I understand that, and I think it's a laudable goal. Candidly, the home that I own would qualify under the 8,000 square feet or less. I have a non-conforming lot. However, I am troubled by reducing setbacks on sides to less than 8 feet. I just think that I just don't think it's enough for public safety reasons. I think it would create an issue for, if there were a fire in one house, the odds, having the setback reduced would create an issue of it spreading to a neighboring lot. If and I think for privacy reasons, I just don't like the 5-foot setback. So I appreciate the intent. I am in favor of the main motion, but I will not be supporting, after a lot of thought and a lot of consideration. And I appreciate, once again, Councilor Baraka giving me the opportunity to consider this. But I will not be supporting it. Thank you.
Anybody for the first time? Councilor Baraka? Oh, Councilor Ringus.
Thank
Didn't
you,
see
President
over there,
Ryan. I was
sorry.
sneaking over there. I applaud Councilor Baraka for this. I think the sentiment here is to ensure that some of our smaller lots do have the ability to participate as much as some of our bigger lots. As a whole, again, like many speakers have said, I am supporting the ADU main motion for the reasons that have been enunciated throughout the night. But I think that when we had a comprehensive zoning proposal that came before the council back in 2019, a lot of the items that were proposed caused a lot of fervor within the town, and ultimately that comprehensive rezone was pulled back by the then mayor's office. But within that, there was some talk about ADUs and cluster housing, and at the time, I thought that those two options were something the town could really look to, especially in terms of when folks want to downsize, because for years we've heard how there's the inability for folks to downsize, and ADUs present that opportunity in a couple different ways, whether that be you having the financial means to welcome an older relative to your home and take care of them, or whether it be you yourself maybe downsizing into the ADU and maybe renting out the main home to someone else. So I think there's a lot of potential here. The state did make some of this mandatory. The CMR does dictate. An issue I have, I guess, overall with the state is the fact that there doesn't have to be any owner occupation. I think that favors folks that already have a certain degree of wealth if they're owning multiple homes. It doesn't have to be owner occupied, but that's not something that we can change. It's within the CMR itself. But in the interest of equity and fairness, I do think that those who might have smaller lots, maybe in East Braintree or maybe in other spots in town, should be at least have the opportunity to sort of look at this. But I think there is some need to look at this from other departments. I'd like to see what legal has to say. I'd like to see what perhaps our public safety agencies have to say in terms of some of the setbacks and how that might affect things, as Councilor Moran noted. So I do think it might be ripe for us to maybe possibly in a few moments table this and get some further guidance from other folks.
Thank you. Councilor Baraka.
Yeah, thank you to my colleagues for your thoughtfulness and consideration. I think if I might then make a motion to continue this.
Well, we're still in the open meeting, the public meeting.
Clerk, Council. Oh, yep.
I know that.
Okay.
So you were making a motion, we have to wait?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so any further comments or questions from the council? Okay, anybody from the general public like to speak on this matter? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to close the public hearing, and we could, or should we make the motion now to continue it to April 1st at 7:30? So could that be the motion, please?
Motion to continue the public hearing to April 1st at 7:30.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. So we will be hoping to get feedback from you folks on this matter, and then we'll take it up at our next meeting on April 1st. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sue. Okay, the next item on the agenda is 25006, Mayor FY25 supplemental appropriation. 2, or take up any action related thereto. Is there a motion to open the public hearing for?
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. I'm going to refer to Council Baraka, Chairwoman of the Committee on Ways and Means, for a recommendation on Order 25006.
Thank you very much, President Ryan. The committee has met twice on this item, or this order, rather, and forgive me, I'm trying to, let me see here. We are sending motions 2 through 8 to the full council with a favorable recommendation. Motion 1 was tabled to be continued to April 1st by Ways and Means.
Okay, is there anyone from the mayor's staff that would like to speak on this matter? Mr. Esmond, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. Mike Esmond, Finance Director. I'm joined here with Chief Viola and Hillary Lawless from the Fire Department, who can probably walk through some of the detail, but I just wanted to quickly recap the high-level financials related to this SUP. This is the second SUP of fiscal 25. With the adjustment that Councilor Baraka mentioned, this would transfer $1.1 million for $4,600 to the Finance Department from the Town of Braintree's 2024 certified free cash across a number of the departments in the Fire Department. As the chief will probably, will lay out a little bit in more detail, what we're addressing here are deficiencies that we knew were exposures at the adoption of the fiscal 25 budget, and we had at that time noted we would be working with the department's management to address, but we're new and recognize that this would likely be something we would return to the Ways and Means Committee and to the full council at some point later in the fiscal year to address. This is obviously the use of free cash is a vital resource for us and our consideration of it. Given the nature, the size of this, and the timing, we feel it's appropriate to use this funding source, but we do recognize that the importance of us limiting the use of these resources to the greatest extent possible. This is, and again, the chief can talk a little bit more about the deficiencies here that we're resolving, but this is something that we will be working to ensure that the fiscal 26 budget incorporates this funding requirement this year as well as next year. And this should, we expect, be the only operating funding that we would use to free cash to support in fiscal 25. But again, recognizing the magnitude of it and the time frame, we think it's appropriate and necessary to use free cash at this time to fund this. And I will turn it over to Chief Viola to talk a little bit more about the detail.
Chief, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Before I start, though, I do want to say I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize all the other town departments that I've worked with in the last 11 months, close to 11 months since taking over and trying to manage through this deficit within the fire department and everything else. And that includes the members of Local 920 who sat down, collaborated, came to an agreement, and we're all working together to get through this fiscal year the way that it is. We knew back then that there was going to be shortages. We weren't part of the fundings that were appropriated with the override, if you recall. The budget itself was not funded accurately. That includes basically every line of the budget. It did not include International Association of Firefighters pay raises, as well as an overtime fund at all. There was, I think, $122,000 in overtime that was put in there, and that's obviously not enough. So again, coming together, collaborating, coming to an agreement to be able to keep public safety at the maximum that we could with the fiscal responsibility in mind. We did that, and we moved forward. That's how we got here. Since I took over last May, we have made strides in every single aspect of that. Managing personnel, moving them around to try and control overtime costs. We have a lot of open positions that weren't replaced. We have people that have retired since, so now we have even more vacancies, and there is a direct correlation between personnel and overtime, as we've all come to realize pretty quickly. We have systems in place to track and keep track of, although it's mostly paper right now, rocks and scissors, but we're working to make sure that we have a good handle on every expenditure that goes out the door. So with that, I can answer any questions that you have related to the budget. And Hillary Lawless came on board in October. Has been phenomenal in helping me through this process. It was everybody else before that, including myself, but then Hillary came on board and makes it that much easier for us to move forward and really bring that stability and fiscal responsibility back to the fire department. So, any questions?
Council Baraka?
Thank you, President Ryan. Just to provide some additional color, and I want to thank and commend my colleagues on the Ways and Means Committee to say that we went over this supplemental with a fine-tooth comb is not an exaggeration. Multi-hour meeting last week, and again, as you can tell, we are not comfortable bringing forward one of the motions that was included in this supplemental. And that being said, I want to also say that the professionalism that Chief Viola and Ms. Lawless have brought to the meetings last week and to this process has been really refreshing, and it's with a lot of gratitude. I know nobody likes to have to bring a supplemental, and we certainly put through the paces last week, but appreciate the professionalism with which this has been handled. Thank you, President Ryan.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments from the council? Council Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief, I just want to say that I think that you've inherited a really tough situation. The whole town has had issues with funding. Everyone's been impacted. And I think that the way that you were able to work with the mayor to recognize the reality of where we are and to make some tough decisions. You included the union and their representation in this as well. They deserve credit here to also, in the efforts of the fire department, to recognize we have limitations and that you have worked with it. And you have an incredibly difficult job to do and an important job to do in the light of that. So you to be commended, really, for you to continuing with mission, even though you don't have everything that you want or that you need. You're making it happen. I commend you and the fire department and the firefighters for that. However, and I know this is a priority of yours. You're looking to make changes. They're going to bring efficiencies. They're going to bring more accountability. Shine light, if you will, on the way practices should be run responsibly. And I'm looking forward to those changes and to you implementing those changes into the team that works for you and all of the firefighters to get behind that. And I commend the mayor and I commend the finance director and certainly Hillary taking on a very difficult job. I've had an opportunity to work with her in the past and other functions she has had here in the town. And she is, I think, going to be a very important part of the solution of getting you, the department, back on its feet, moving in the right direction and in the black. It was a very difficult decision that the mayor and the finance department had to make in light of the situation of what we were facing for revenues. I do believe that things are going to get better, and I do believe that I stand here ready to support items, all the items except for number one at this particular point, because I think, as we discussed in the Ways and Means meeting, that there's more information we'd like to ascertain that also would give the town, the mayor, an opportunity to find what the best path forward would be, the least path of harm, if you will, from a financial standpoint. And so I stand ready to support the supplemental number 2 with the exception of number 1, and I'm sure that the council will address that.
Council Moran?
President, I would commend Councilor Baraka for her conduct of the Ways and Means hearings on this and indulging me with a number of probably boring and exhausting questions that I've asked. But I think, I think it's important that when a supplemental comes to the council, that we do our due diligence. I think it's important for the public to also know that the motion that we are continuing to the next meeting does not in any way, shape, or form affect the operation of the department. This is a matter, quite frankly, of how we account for and document past expenditures related to details and making sure that that we get important questions answered, between now and the next meeting. The details that are in question, the people that have worked them have been paid. The remaining motions will allow the department hopefully to complete its, continue its operations in the fashion that they are currently doing through the end of the fiscal year. Chief, I commend you for your efforts in working with the union from day one to resolve the issues collaboratively and working effectively with the council and with the mayor's office. And Ms. Wallace, your work's been exceptional. And you came in, you didn't inherit calm waters. You've come in rough waters, but you've really steered the ship in the right direction. So I am confident that we are heading in the right direction. Quite frankly, it's disheartening that this magnitude of a supplemental has to be faced, but I think the explanations that you gave are credible, and I think that with more realistic budgeting in the future, you won't be back here dealing with my endless questions. So again, I commend my fellow members of the Ways and Means Committee and Councilor Baraka for her conduct of the hearings, and I'm glad to support motions 2 through 8.
I think that, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. And really what this will do for us is this lays the basis for 26. And now we'll have real accurate information that we can build on for our future budgets and not constantly being behind the 8 ball, if you will, for lack of a better word. So,
Any other councilors have any questions or comments? Councilor Maglio.
Very much. I want to echo what my colleagues have said about working with you. I love your glass half full viewpoint. I think that so far we've gotten so much information from the systems that you're putting in place, the work that you and all of the members of the administration and your team and your department are doing. And I think that's really important because each year as we start to approach the budget season and we spend many nights in May here in this room asking questions, we want to know that we're getting back information that is valid and credible and based on evidence and based on past precedent or future projections, and that they're sound and they're factual. And I feel as though with the systems that you're talking about putting into place, with your collaborating with all of the other departments, that we're going to get, just like with other parts of the budgeting process that we went through last year that showed some real changes. I'm looking forward to getting being able to go, actually, in terms of what Councilor Moran said, being able to maybe ask less questions because we're getting the information that we need in order to make good decisions for everyone. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other councilors have any comments, questions? I have a couple comments. I agree with you, Chief, with the budgetary issues of like overtime and being short-staffed, and I'm going to fully support that. My concern is with the details and making sure that we're doing details that we know we're going to get paid for, that no one's told us they're not going to pay, and we do them anyway, and doing details that make sense. And what kind of process do you have for details in the department, like from approval and tracking, and what have you found with that? And
one of the first 2 things that I did when we took over was implemented a policy where when there is a detail ordered by any member of the department, that they get the proper information and the payee with a name, who pays the bills, accounts payable, whatever it might be, email, and all that before we even move forward to hire the detail. That's worked out really, really well. We created a numbered invoicing system that we know by month which details were worked, which details are owed, which details are paid. And I will say again, since May 6th until currently today, the details that we've put into place or that I've authorized through my deputy chiefs or anyone else that authorized it, we're over 90% collected. The ones that aren't collected are because it's within the 30-day pay period. And that's due to my strong, my strong arm behind me, but also working in collaboration with other town departments like building and health, with various times of the year when we have permits that are going to be issued and occupation certificates, whatever you want to call it. We will go and collect that debt before we allow that to move forward, and that's huge. That's a huge help for us. And those processes are in place now, and for us, at least from May to now, it's worked immensely and very well.
Thank you, Chief. So, I mean, this problem, I don't have to say this, but everybody knows we're in such dire financial times, and for us to have to take free cash to pay for details that we're not going to get reimbursed for, some of them that the people who were doing the details for said, we're not going to pay you, and we did the details anyway. I think we have to very much learn from that and not, we can't afford to foot that bill, the town of Braintree. And if we have to pay for these details, like we're talking about tonight, we have to make sure that when we've seen a problem, that we've corrected it, and we know that we're not just going to keep kicking the can down the road. And I think I'm glad that you folks are taking this seriously and doing a good job with it, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, so we're still in the open, the public hearing. Anybody from the general public like to speak on this matter? Hearing none. So what are we going to close?
I believe we did get Mr. President, if I could, we got an opinion from the Carolyn Murray, who works for KP Law, as to the possibilities of how to move this forward. The option that made the most sense is, as we are there is no further discussion needed on motions 2 through 8. It seems that only rests with number 1. That we could continue the hearing as to motion 1 to a date, time, and certain, which would be our next meeting, that being April 1st. At that point, we would then close the public hearing as to the remaining motions 2 through 8, and then we could go forward on making the motions and voting on motions 2 through 8.
I'm going to accept that as a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. So we've tabled number 1 until our next meeting of April 1st at 7:30. And now do we have the motions on 2 through 8?
Mr. President, I would move as to number 2, fire administration, that the sum of $11,800 be transferred from fiscal year 2024 certified free cash to fire department / administration program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. Council Ringus?
President Ryan, I'd move under fire, number 3, fire building maintenance, that the sum of $12,350 be transferred from fiscal year 2024 certified free cash to fire department / building maintenance.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. Council Ringus?
President Ryan, as to fire equipment maintenance, that the sum of $50,200 be transferred from fiscal year 2024 certified free cash to fire department equipment maintenance program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. Do we have an issue?
I might have Oh, you're right. I did say 2024. Sorry. I have an 18-month-old. Can I say that again? That the sum of $50,200 be transferred from fiscal year 2025 certified free cash to fire department equipment maintenance program.
No,
I was right. 2024. Yeah.
It's on mine is 24.
24, right? Yeah, okay.
Okay. Yep, we're in FY, no, we're in FY '25, but. Oh, it's the free cash, okay, yep, okay. Well, I'm glad we had a chance to have that discussion. What's the next motion?
We voted on 4, going to fire suppression, overtime, and payroll. The sum of $1,023,000 to transfer from fiscal year 2024 certified free cash to fire department fire suppression program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Counsel Ringus?
Fire alarm repair, the sum of $1,250 to transfer from fiscal year 2024 certified free cash to fire department fire alarm repair program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, that's unanimous. Counsel Ringus?
As to fire hazardous materials, the sum of $3,900 to transfer from fiscal year 2024 certified free cash to fire department hazardous materials program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, that's unanimous. Counsel Ringus?
And finally, as to fire training service, the sum of $500 we transferred from fiscal year 2024 certified free cash, and a sum of $1,600 we transferred from the fire department fire prevention program to fire department fire training service program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda, I believe, is 25, we already did 25011, the Festival of Trees. We're going to do 25012, Mayor authorization to accept a donation, interstate outdoor, or take up any action related thereto. We're asking for same night action. Anyone here to speak on that from the mayor's office? Kind of like was waiting for somebody to object, but they didn't. Does anybody object to same night action? Thank you. So, hi, good evening again.
Good evening. This is the interstate outdoor one first, is that right?
Yes.
Very good. As you might recall, the town had a couple years ago worked through a process to install 2 digital billboards on Wood Road. One came online before the other one, I believe. I can't remember the order, but essentially in the community host agreement, there were donations that were to be made by these organizations on an annual basis. Kate, I just want to recognize Kate Naughton in my office for reaching out. I had been on the planning board at the time and had remembered these host agreements and said, hey, are we taking advantage of those? So she did work by reaching out to both of those organizations and making sure we were all caught up on those donations. So that is essentially what these are coming forward with, is a collection on that. So the first one from Interstate Outdoor, and just as a reminder, the community host agreements did, though they read differently, they had some guidelines as to what the donation should be for. So for this one, the Recreation Department was selected to receive this funding. We are hoping to use this contribution to offset program costs for our rec programming to support residents who may not be able to afford participation. So this will go towards that effort. So yes, looking forward to your acceptance of this donation from Interstate Outdoor.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the council? Council Baraka?
Thank you, President Ryan. Quick question. Is this an annual $7,000 donation that we're expecting to receive? And for how long? What are the terms of the
I don't recall the differences between the two, but I can provide that for feedback. But they're different between the 2 agreements. One spells out, I believe, a specific amount, and the other one is more open-ended. So I can provide that language.
Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't have to be tonight. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
They're both annual, my team is telling me so.
Council Reynolds?
Just to clarify, did I hear the amount was 7,000? Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, we're going to do same night action on this. Can we have a motion?
President Ryan, I'd move under 25012 that the town of Braintree be and hereby authorized in accordance with section 53A of the chapter 44 of the Mass General Laws to accept the following gift upon the conditions attached and herein set forth. The donor being Interstate Outdoor, the gift being $7,000, and that purpose being distribution to the Recreation Department funding.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. And the next item is 25013, the mayor authorization to accept the donation, Lamar Central Outdoor, or take up any action related thereto.
Thank you. Similarly to the previous acceptance of a donation, this one is for the second billboard. I believe this agreement is more open-ended. So this is a $20,000 donation. Again, more open-ended on what to be used for. So the guidelines are town programs, organizations, or other special town events. So that is the purpose for the acceptance. I believe we are planning to put this into the beautification fund. So,
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council? Council Reynolds.
Hear that last comment clearly?
I believe we're going to be putting this into the beautification fund.
The beautification
Yeah.
fund. And
But the
again-
intent is to fund town programs and events as one of the options for what this could be donated towards.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, do we have a motion? Same night action again.
President Ryan, as to 25013, I move that the town of Braintree be and hereby authorized in accordance with Section 53A of Chapter 44 of the Massachusetts General Laws to accept the following gift upon the conditions attached and herein set forth, the donor being Lamar Central Outdoor, that gift being $20,000, the purpose for funding town programs and events.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is a motion to move all remaining items under new business to the respective committees. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. And that is the end of our business for this evening. I'd once again, as always, like to thank BCAM for televising our meeting tonight, Bill Needham and Jerry Comic. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.